Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream series Communicate, take two if you will, because a ghost actually hopped on the live stream, I do believe, taking Brimstone's place. He's a jack of all trades, though. He's got so much happening.
One of the things that I absolutely love doing is a lot of the voice work. I'm loving getting back into the whole acting thing the last couple of years, but this past year, going into this year, was it was a lot of auditions, a lot of fun, a lot of filming. So things are good. Could be worse.
Awesome. I know you definitely do a lot of voice work on top of literally everything else. I mean, wrestling, and in your intro, I was saying that you're also a food critic, and that's awesome, on top of the acting. So that's absolutely excellent that you're constantly doing auditions. I think that's, something that people who don't do voice work and acting maybe don't necessarily understand is that you put out maybe 100 auditions and you grab what you can get. It's a lot of work. You have to have a pretty extreme work ethic. So I commend you for everything that you've managed to do in many vast industries. It's pretty incredible. So
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So speaking of which, this is definitely a bit of a mouthful here. But in a world that often likes to box creators into specific niches and aesthetics, you have embarked on numerous adventures, just to name a few, such as we mentioned before, wrestling, writing, acting, and being a food critic. How do you manage to balance all of these things professionally? And what's your advice for others trying to do the same thing in regards to their own versatility?
First and foremost, I mean, it's a lot, but if you don't do it, somebody else is going to be doing it. I've always wanted to kind of do everything that I've ever wanted to do, and therefore I kind of shift into different modes where I say, "Oh, that looks interesting. That looks interesting." Sometimes I get a little overwhelmed, but I'm very scheduled. I'm a very scheduled person, and I try to keep up on everything, individually. Sometimes there are things that I can kind of pull off at the same time. Like I'll work on social media and other things, simultaneously sometimes
Oh my
when I
goodness.
can, which is difficult, because I like to, get back and respond to every single person who comments to me. So, that could get overwhelming real quick when you have a couple hundred people that are sitting and dropping, messages to you. But,
Absolutely.
in terms of anybody who's opting for a career in entertainment, it's just like every other career, except rather than interviewing for one job that you might have for X amount of years, you're usually interviewing for multiple jobs that you're going to be
Right.
doing for a couple days to a couple months, and sometimes you're lucky enough that it lasts a few years, but you're still auditioning for other positions as well. So, it's all perspective. And you get turned down just like you do in the real world, where people go for job offers, and they decide either they don't want to take it or they don't want you. So it's the same thing in entertainment. Navigating all different fields has been something that I've been doing for quite some time. Again, because sometimes there's just a shift, like with music. When I was a musician, I was looking to get out of being in a 5-way marriage. It was a shift. I needed to kind of get out of that situation and get myself into a better situation for myself personally and a better mindset. So that's why I shifted from music to wrestling. Then it was time for me to kind of shift my way out of wrestling, and I went and I started doing the comic book thing. But it was still a little bit. Involving of the pro wrestling stuff, because it was the character that I was pulling out of the wrestling ring and putting into the comic books. So, you know what I mean? Everything kind of plays into each other. And that's the one thing that I've done throughout my career, is I like to make sure that everything that I touch has something to do with one another. The food plays into the comics. The food line plays into the food reviews. You know what I mean. The wrestling turns into the comic. Everything kind of plays into each other. So It's really been a crazy wild ride, and I really enjoy navigating all the different areas of entertainment because not many people do it, and I want to do it, and I want to do it successfully, and I so far I think I am. I haven't necessarily hit my pinnacle yet, so um, I'm just happy doing what I'm doing.
You know, again, kudos for everything you're doing because I can't imagine juggling that much alongside being your own social media manager, which I do believe that's what I got out of this too, is that you're your own manager
Mhm.
as well. And somebody actually commented here, Brim definitely gives his all to his social media, in person at cons too. And I think that's what's awesome about you is that even though you have all of this going on, you are still Brim. You're still Brimstone, and people know you as a jack of all trades. And something that I've seen is that creators are often forced to pick a niche, but you are a niche. You became your own niche, and I think that's incredible. You're just known for doing it all. So again, that's awesome that you're able to balance it all.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it is a privilege. I did work hard for it.
You
I
did,
do
yes.
love I do love hearing from fans and friends, other people that are in the industry, and one of the coolest compliments that I've gotten was they go, no matter what you do or where you are, you're still yourself. You're still Brim, and I mean, even on Billions, I just did the co-star cameo on Billions this past season, and even when I did that, they wanted me to wear all my own jewelry and everything, and people were like, it's Brim. There he is. It's Brim.
Yes,
So it's
that's
cool.
awesome.
It's cool, man.
You're
I
like a
like.
shapeshifter.
Yeah, yeah.
You're kind of like a shapeshifter, dude, definitely. So, I know we started off this interview chatting a bit about your auditions and what you have going on voiceover wise. So, tell me about that and your comic series, your animated series, and what is some theming that it's based around, and are there any animators or producers that helped to inspire your work?
So, in terms of if you want to go to the comics, comic side of things, when I was a kid, before I got into music, my first real love was comic books, and I wanted to be a comic book artist, and I just
Awesome.
at the end of the day, I just said, I'm good, but I'm not that good. And then I wound up finding my true love, which was music, and I became a drummer and, went from there. But it came full circle because, again, being a pro wrestler, what are wrestlers? Wrestlers are larger than life characters that
Right.
people look up to, and they're kind of real life superheroes. So I figured, well, what if I took the character that I put so much time and effort into building, take the look and the feel, and bring it into the comic book, and just kind of nix the wrestling from it. So I did that, and I put it out, and then shortly after, my friends who are now gone, but Peter and Angie Mayhew. Peter Mayhew is Chewbacca from Star Wars, and his wife Angie. They had seen me. We haven't seen each other in a while, and we saw each other at a convention, and they saw what I was doing with the comics and the kids' books, and they go, "We really want to, see if you might be interested in taking our stuff on." So I took on, Peter's kids' books, and I incorporated into Hound Comics Inc. And then what do you call it? I wound up, bringing on other friends from all different areas of entertainment who had their own books and comics coming out, and that led me to start touring again, doing the Comic Cons, and I got the
Awesome.
opportunity to meet a lot of different people. Now that being said, it came full circle, which is why I had to tell the story. And I'm trying to give it to you in a nutshell. I wound up being introduced to Stan Lee. For those of you
Wow.
who know Stan
Just
is,
wow.
from Marvel.
Oh
And,
my goodness.
and Stan gave his thumb of approval. Now, I had always looked up to Stan and his work, and, for everything from, the Fantastic Four to this, to that, to Spider-Man. I mean, Captain America, everything you could think of. Just loved Stan's, just is everything that he stood for. So, what do you call it? So for somebody to look up to, Stan was one of the people that I looked up to. And, Stan, I had a great opportunity to become good friends with. I mean, I became the celebrity spokesperson for his foundation. And,
Wonderful.
I did a lot of touring with, when I did the conventions, I would do, Kids Day, and I'd be the one that was dealing with all the kids for the foundation. Spent many days, hanging out in LA inside Stan's, what do you call it, POW Entertainment offices, and it was always a good time. So I got to learn a lot from him. And there are a lot of other people that have come, and that I've been very, very, I guess, inspired by. But I also I don't get, since I've been in the industry since I'm 5. I don't get starstruck. I don't get, that's not my thing. I just wanna learn from people, and people like
Absolutely.
Stanley, Kevin Smith. I know what do you call it? Bumblefoot, who was a very good friend of mine.
Bumble.
So
Yeah.
Bumble is
Oh,
incredible, and
Bumble. Yes.
even when we were doing our sauces and seasonings, you just learn from your friends and the people that are doing it along with you. You don't know it all. You can't possibly know it all.
Right
But
on.
you learn a lot, and you continue to learn. You continue to get bigger and better. And I've spent over 40 years in entertainment. I'd like to think I know a thing or two. But I will never. I will never know it all. It's too much to know it all. The thing that I think is amazing, having kind of gone from industry to industry, is I am very well rounded, and I know a little bit about a lot. But I
Love that.
also try to become a student of the game. So when I got into comics, um, I researched the crap out of it. I did it on my own. I'm the one. I spoke to a bunch of people that I knew in publishers, and it just wasn't the right deal. And I said, you know what? I'm going to put it out on my own. And we became the only independently owned and operated comic that was sold in every Barnes and Noble in the world.
Wow.
That was a big deal for that. Then I know that the comic books don't make money. It's the brands and the trademarks that make the money. The characters make the money. And
Right.
what do you call it?
Yes.
So you take that and then you spin it off into all different projects. I did the kids books. I did the video game. I did the what do you call it? Animated series and so forth. And that was all Brimstone stuff, RPGs, products. If you watch Big Bang Theory, you've probably seen, starting at season 7, Brimstone backpacks, that were sold in Walmart by eSport. They're all in there.
Awesome.
By the
Very
way,
nice.
new backpacks are coming out in March. What do you call it? The new
Yeah.
Brimstone line? So keep an eye on that for Walmart.com and eSport.com. And you can get them anywhere in the world doing the .com. So very excited about that. But anyway, everything kind of, works off each other. And I learned a little bit in each industry. And the one thing I can tell everybody is, regardless of where you are, it's the same manure, just a different field. So,
Hmm.
so,
Yes. It's a great way to put it, honestly. Wow, that's just very, very
yeah.
immense. That's a good chunk of experience right there. And the fact that you can manage to stay humble and just grow, expand what you know through learning and collaborating with others, that's excellent. And the whole Stan Lee thing is, to get his stamp of approval, you must feel very, very proud. I hope you feel
I
proud. I
do.
hope
I
you
do.
feel very
To be
proud.
sitting across from Stan and have him say to you, like, "Uh-oh, now I'm worried for my own job."
Oh,
That,
goodness. Wow,
he was
very
being
big stamp of approval
sarcastic. He was
right there.
joking. He was joking, but
Absolutely joking, but still a very big stamp of
yes.
approval. And to have that relationship, that's excellent. We actually have a comment here from Brainstorm Bruno, and he said, Brim helped me to get back in the game.
Mhm.
So that's wonderful. You inspire a lot of people. There's no doubt about that. Matthew Ryan says, now you get to be on a paranormal show.
Yeah, I didn't think I was allowed to talk about that yet, but yes, I am
Oh,
going to be.
okay.
I mean, that's the director, so if he's saying that it's okay, I mean,
Oh,
what do
all right.
I appreciate it, but what do you call it? Yeah, if he says it's okay here, I'll definitely shout it out. But yeah, we're I am going to be doing a paranormal show in March. I'm going to be heading out there to film, and it's a one
Excellent.
episode thing for now. And you never know. Hopefully, I'll be doing more in that field. Listen, I thought that the Brimstone name and that the comic has to do with the afterlife and so forth. I just thought it would be a really cool thing to start doing more stuff with the paranormal. And I wound up, I started doing some of the paracons like Warren Con and the oh my God, what was it? The Salem Paracon and stuff like that. And my audience actually does, kind of go into that. So I didn't realize how much until I started doing them more often. And so I said it would be really cool to have the opportunity and go and do some investigating with, some of these cats on television and get my real reaction. I have no
Yeah,
shame. So,
that's so
yeah,
exciting.
so
Very
we're
nice.
doing that. If he's still here and wants to give me the permission to say what show it is and everything, I will. But yeah, no, yeah, there you have it. The cat's out of the bag now. Yes, I'm filming, and it should air sometime next year.
Excellent. Very busy. Very, very busy.
Yes.
So let's move on to a bit of wrestling because I know how you were talking about how wrestling, when you are wrestling, it's a bit of a character. Like you said, you bring a lot of life, you breathe life into what you do. What is a crazy wrestling story that you may have to share? Either a funny one or a bizarre one or whatever one that comes to mind.
I mean, I could tell you, I am retired from the ring, just so you're aware. But I can tell you a real funny story. It was a real crappy weekend, but it was a good story. It actually was the week of September 11th. I was in Florida with some of my students at the time. We had shot out to. Oh, look, I can mention the show and the platform to watch. Okay, so the show, before I tell the story, is Dark Echoes, and that's going to be
Woo!
on Amazon. What do you call it? Which
Awesome.
is fantastic. And yeah, Matthew is the director over there. So very cool cat. I'm excited to work with them.
Shout out to
Um,
Matthew. Awesome. So Amazon, everybody. If
Amazon.
you're into the
Absolutely.
paranormal, we got Brimstone, I'm
Absolutely.
hearing for
It's going to be
sure.
fun. I'm excited for that. So, to tell you the story, so I was out in Florida. It was, I was working with, my friend John Tenta, who worked under the stage name Earthquake, one of the natural disasters. It was him. And then he had one of my trainers, over there, Gino Caruso, as well as Prince Iakea, who was a popular name back in the day. And, what do you call it? We were there, we were training, and Quake was late getting to the training facility this one day because again we were there for maybe a week, and he walks in, and now you got to understand he's just a tremendous sized man. Okay,
Oh,
made me
gosh.
look like a midget. I mean, I'm sorry, small person. What do you call it? So I don't want to get
Tiny.
canceled. What do you call it?
You're good. You're
So
good.
he made me look small, and he comes in and this big bellowing voice is Brimstone. I'm like, whoa, what did I do? Am I in trouble? Like, all right, let's see what's going on here. And I slide out of the ring, and I'll never forget. And I went up to him and I go, hey, what's going on, Quick? And he goes, listen, goes, would you want to do me the honor of being my partner this weekend as one of the honorary natural disaster because what do you call it, tugboat can't make it? And I was like, or typhoon rather was his gimmick name at that point. And I was like, sure, that works. I'm not gonna get my ass
Yeah.
handed to me. I'm okay. I'm cool. So what do you call it? So it was that weekend. In between is when September 11th happened. They wound up having the show anyway. And going into the locker room, Quake wanted to introduce me. He said, we're going to be working against the Whackers this weekend. The Whackers met the Bushwhackers, which is Luke and Butch. And what do you call it? I went into the back, and it was the first time I was meeting the Bushwhackers in person. And what do you call it? I go in, and Quake introduces me, and again, this is the full locker room. And I went and I shook Butch's hand. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. And then I went to shake Luke's hand, And I don't know if you or anybody else, I know a lot of you are probably young, if you guys ever watched Crocodile Dundee. But when he goes to shake the person's hand with the other hand, he went and he reached down below and he went on my privates in front of
Oh
everybody in the
God.
locker room. So what do you call it? Yeah, so he what we call ribbed is he ribbed me pretty hard in the locker room, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So then I was thinking, "All right, when we get into the ring later to work, I got to watch for this guy." But he got me good. And funny enough, years
Gotta look over
later,
your shoulder for that one.
yeah, yeah. Years later, I was working at a company called PWR, Pro Wrestling Revolution, and uh, they wound up bringing Luke in. So I hadn't seen Luke in quite some time, and he came in and was like, "Oh my God, how you been?" And I looked at him. I go in the back, and I said, "I can't believe you ribbed me in front of the whole goddamn locker room." And he looks at me, and goes, "No, mate, that was Quake's idea. He told me to do it." So Quake, who passed away not long after that all happened, was laughing down at me from up above, because he's the one who actually did it. I'm sitting here all these years thinking Luke just ribbed me and
Oh God.
out of nowhere, but it was Quake who had me ripped. But anyway, that was a fond story that I had, and there's always a million more, but that one was one of the fond ones that I enjoy talking
I'm
about.
sure it, like the world of wrestling is just a whole nother world, and I'm sure there's just a whole book of stories that you could probably write a book on it, honestly. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
But regarding, I know we have some friends tuning in. Hello, hello. Hope your 2024 is snazzy. And just to refresh, we have a jack of all trades here for certain. So let's talk a little bit about philanthropy.
Hmm.
Tell me some good causes that you have worked with or are currently working with. Anybody that you would like to shout out?
Okay, so I spend a lot of my spare time, which is very few and far between,
I'd imagine.
doing
Yes.
doing charity work. Yeah, because I always my mother, rest in peace, instilled it in me when we were younger. Always try to give back to those in need, and always give back to those who put you where you are. And I spent a lot of time doing a lot of different things. I do, oh my God, everything from Michael J. Fox's Parkinson's Foundation to the Arthritis Foundation. Like I said earlier, the Stan Lee Foundation. A lot of different things from trafficking to bullying, anti-bullying and stuff.
Right.
But the one that I do spend a lot of time on when I'm home and I have the opportunity is Sweetbriar Nature Preserve. I absolutely love Sweetbriar. They're, an animal preserve, and what they do is they rescue animals and they literally recoup them, get them ready, and let them back out into the wild. They
Yay.
rehabilitate them there, and they're just fantastic. I mean, they just did in a row. It was like an eagle, an owl, something else. What do you call? I was able to be at the release for the coyote. I mean, so there was a lot. There are a lot of animals that are in need, and they're one of the top ones here on Long Island in New York, where I live, and I spend a lot of time with them when I can. I just did their events. They do the annual Rock and Raptors event,
Very
and
nice.
I went and I was hanging out. I don't know if anybody goes to my Instagram feed, they'll see a couple posts back. There's a picture of an owl and I looking eye to eye. It's pretty funny, and it's one of the owls that I get to play with when I'm there. And Nebula, which is my barn owl. She's not really mine, but they all know she's mine. I claimed her, uh, but she, I get to hold her and spend time with her every time I'm there, and that's me in my happy place. So. I spend time there. I try to push people there. I donate there, and I think it's a great cause. They're just a wonderful, wonderful foundation.
That is such a wonderful cause. And oh, it's like Hogwarts a little bit. You got your own owl. That's
Always,
lovely.
she's
But
so
but
cute.
that's wonderful. Nebula, you said her name is too,
Yeah,
right? It's a beautiful,
yeah,
beautiful name, beautiful name. But I mean, that's a very long list of charities that he just discussed right there. Definitely head over to the Real Brimstones page. He is pinned right in the comments. Charity work, music, acting, voiceover work. He does it all, really. So very impressive resume.
appreciate it.
So I have a few more questions here. we can't quite end this without talking about something that everybody loves, which is food. You are a self-proclaimed foodie, so
Mhm.
tell me honestly some of the absolute best food you've had, some of the worst food that you've ever had, and some of the most unique food that you've
Oh,
had.
you're asking a lot, my friend. Oh,
I am
that's
asking
crazy. Okay.
a lot.
So, so I'm going to tell you about one of the best things that I've had and the most innovative things in one shot. And it's funny enough because I just had it this past weekend on Saturday. So months ago, I did a guest spot on a couple different videos for a foodie show, and what do you call it? When I did that, I was brought into a place called Morgan's Barbecue. Now, I know the people at Morgan's Barbecue because I do the judging. I do the celebrity judge thing for Brisket King, New York, Rib King, Pig Island, and all that jazz, and they're always involved. So I know them for quite some time, and I wanted to go and stop in and see them, and they had going back when we did the filming. One of the things they brought out was this giant slab, this rib that was made into a pastrami rib. The thing was giant. Now I have a big head. This thing made my head look small, and it
Jeez.
just fell right off the bone. They serve it with this delicious homemade mustard, and what do you
Mm.
call it? When you bite into this, it just melts into your mouth. The flavor behavior is unbelievable, and not only is it different, it's innovative, and it's probably one of the most flavorful, best pieces of meat that I've ever tasted. So it's
Does
called
sound quite nifty,
Morgan's,
I
yeah.
must say.
Morgan's Barbecue, and they're in Brooklyn, New York. So,
Brooklyn, very
if
nice.
people are in there, yeah. And they also have a place in King of Prussia, which is in Pennsylvania. So you can always check that out too. But fantastic, fantastic. Oh, great food all around, but that one specifically is beautiful. I also, there's a couple of other things like, these in Manhattan. There's a place called Green Bow that has the most amazing inside out soup wontons that will blow your mind. They're very rude there. They're very rude. It's all communal seating if you want to eat there. But what do you call it? They are the best soup filled dumplings that you've ever had. Just incredible. The worst thing I've ever had. I don't want to put anybody
Right.
on blast.
Yeah.
That
Like,
that's kind
what's a
of
nice way to
mean.
say it?
That's kind of mean. But things that I won't eat chopped liver. I won't eat liver. Um, I'm a
Agreed.
very I'm a very big consistency guy. Like I if something looks kind of gross or it feels like it's going to be nasty, I don't want to have anything to do with it. But I will admit that I was wrong about guacamole. I never wanted to have guacamole. I was like, oh my God, that is putrid. I don't want to taste
It
it. And then
depends.
I was out in Puerto Rico and I was visiting a spot that I know, what do you call it, the people from the States. So they invited me in and my family and they said, come in and blah, blah, blah. And they were treating myself and my whole family while we were in Puerto Rico. And it was Brother Jimmy's barbecue. And what do you call it? They just brought out everything and they came out with this giant thing. I made this huge guacamole, and the chef is out there making it for me, and I'm like, I can't not eat it if the chef is bringing it out. So I tried it, and I was like, wow, this is really good. I'm wrong. And now I've actually
Stand
learned.
corrected.
I stand corrected, and now I know how to make guacamole. I've done it myself. I make guacamole and ceviche and so forth, and yeah. So I pulled a few things from out of their hat, and yeah, now I make it all the time. So I am pleased with that one. That I will admit I was wrong. Every so often I'm wrong, but it was
Yeah,
good.
I agree with the texture thing. If it looks weird, it can be difficult to really get anywhere near it. But that's the thing with liver, honestly. And calamari, I'm not sure if you've
No,
had calamari.
I won't.
That's the
I had
same
it
thing.
once. I had it once, and it was actually, I got to tell you, it was actually pretty decent.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
this is, but I'm going to explain it to you, and you'll see why. Um, it didn't taste anything like it normally would. I was at my buddy Danny Gagnon, who was on Top Chef. He had opened up a
Very nice.
restaurant, and he had brought out this platter, and I looked at it and I go, "All right, it looks delicious, it smells delicious, but what is it?" And he's like, "I'm not going to tell you." I said, "You got to tell me, because I'm not going to eat it if you don't tell me." He's like, "You got to try it. Just try it." It was a General Tso's crispy calamar, and it was absolutely delicious. Um, it spoiled me because then I said, okay, maybe I'll try it somewhere else. Try it, some kind of calamar. And after I tasted it somewhere else, I said I will never put that crap in my mouth again.
He must have
And I
had
rejected. I
a
rejected it.
secret
Yeah,
ingredient, a magic touch, cooked it perfectly. I don't know.
so
I
good.
was in LA when I tried it and I couldn't even bite through it because it was like rubber consistency.
Oh
So
yeah,
it
no,
was like not very chewable at all. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
can't do it.
I'm good for no. Yes.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah, to
But
each their
yeah.
own though, to each their own, If anybody in this chat likes your calamar, go for it. Absolutely.
Yeah. There was
Yes.
one other time when I was doing the Food Hound Tidbit series. I did that for 3 seasons. And one place that I had gone to, and I'm going to tell you, the food was decent. It wasn't bad. But when you go to a barbecue joint and you walk in and there are literally hundreds of awards.
Mm-hmm.
And it was somewhere, I believe it was in Utah. Utah. I'm pretty sure it was Utah. And what do you call it? They invited me to come into the back because I get to go into a lot of the kitchens. And what do you call it? I went into the back and they were microwaving the food.
Oh,
And I
goodness.
was like, wow,
Goodness
wow, wow,
me.
wow. That was bizarre. That was wild. I wasn't expecting that. So that was a wow moment in the foodie things. But yeah, I get to do a lot of really cool stuff, and I do a lot of guest things for a lot of different places, a lot of different Instagram people and things like that because it's a lot of fun. Hopefully soon. I've been trying to work with my agents. I'd like to do more guest spots on Food Network stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see what happens. We'll figure it out. I mean, at this point, I am I know a lot of people from a lot of the shows. What do you call it? So we'll figure it out. I mean,
And I'm
you know, what
confident
can you
that you
do?
will.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm confident that you will,
yeah.
absolutely. One more
It'll
question
be fun.
for you,
Sure.
which is a good place to end, I would think. What is something that you would really like to manifest for the rest of 2024 in any of your projects? It can be music or new collaborators that you haven't quite worked with just yet. Just what's on your mind for the new year here?
So now I haven't been. There are a couple of things. One thing that I've been wanting to do for a while is get back behind a drum kit. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do it because just my regular day to day is just so nuts. But what do you call it? But I also, I'm from Uniondale, New York, on Long Island, and I grew up hip hop. So I grew up with leaders of the new school, Busta Rhymes and Dinko and C Brown. What do you call it? LL Cool J, Public Enemy, all these cats were all in my neighborhood, whether they lived there or they were visiting all the time. So I'm very hip hop, and
Awesome.
I've done a couple of rap things in the past. Hey, Daniel Logan, you got Baby Boba Fett right there from Star Wars. Thanks for dropping by, Danny.
Hello,
What do you call it?
hello. Hope you're doing very well.
What do you call it? Yeah, so I wanted to get back into the studio. I started recording a rap track last year, and what do you call it? My engineer had taken it off the computer in the studio, and he was bringing it home with him, and then his drive got corrupt. So I wound up losing all the work that we put into it,
Oh
and we just haven't had
no.
the opportunity and time to redo that. So I would like to get back in the studio and do some stuff there. I've also would love to have the opportunity to audition for the role of the Thing, Ben Grimm, for the Fantastic Four for Marvel. What do you call it? I think that would be absolutely fantastic. What do you call it? I've been really really leaning towards trying to get that role. All I want is an opportunity, and I would like to be able to do some more, acting. I'd like to get more stuff underneath my wings, and I'm getting the auditions, but you know how it is. You audition for 100 things, you get one. So
Absolutely.
just trying to make it work there, and I think this is going to be a good year for that. I am dropping. I know the show The Brush Brigade, that I do the voice for Beazle, which is one of the main characters. That's going
Very
to be
nice.
launching this year.
Woo,
And
that's
Rose and
exciting.
Locket. Yeah, it's going to be. I'll show you Beazle. So this is actually what Beazle looks like. Is my little for the
I
Brush Brigade.
love
And
him. Oh, this is a great time for new characters to come up. I
it's
am like,
true.
I mean, yeah, I'm so excited to see what other studios are doing, and even independent studios I feel like are coming up.
Yeah.
Um, and us both, I'm definitely kind of trying to lean into a voice acting thing or whatever, because I feel like I could do a pretty weird voice. I don't know if anybody needs I can be an awkward elf pretty naturally if they ever need an elf hero. So
An awkward elf. There you go.
an
Yeah,
awkward elf
Beazle.
hero.
What I love.
My heroism is being awkward.
Oh, it's your superpower. It's a good
Yeah, that's my
superpower to have.
superpower. Yeah, I just get there and everybody's like, okay, we're going home.
What I love about the Beazle character is that it allows me to be a character completely different than everything else that I do, because he's all the way up. He's like, you know what I mean? So he's high pitched,
Oh,
and he's flying around. He's a
that's
little
the
two
elf voice.
faced character.
Sweet. That's
Oh,
awesome.
you're the elf voice.
Let's hear the elf voice. I feel like I would love to like be a weird singing elf, like kind of like Anastasia type. Dancing there's painted wings. Do you know that song?
She's good.
Do you know it?
She's
Do you know that song
good.
though? Please tell me that you know it. It's
I
so
don't know that
underrated.
song, but it sounded good.
It's Anastasia. It's like I feel like I'm getting a little bit old because that's like a bit of a 90s baby cartoon. It's
Oh, I
not
know
Disney.
Anastasia.
Yes.
That's great.
Absolutely.
That's great.
But yes, if anybody else has any questions for Brimstone here, because this is his interview, the star of this interview, we have a lot of things to talk about. To be honest, he's just got a full resume. A full resume. Absolutely.
Yeah, I do a lot of stuff and things. Could be worse, right? Could could be
Well,
worse.
you said you wanted to get into music a little bit more this year, so maybe something I'll manifest for you is an original song for your character there.
Possibly. I mean, I spent a good amount of time, that was my first thing. I mean, I was a musician, and I was a touring musician. So, I was a drummer for many, many years, and I had plenty of endorsements there. It sucks because I got sick of being in a five-way marriage.
Yeah.
That's the situation. Sometimes,
Get back
the
into it and go
personalities.
solo.
Yeah,
Go
well,
back into it and go solo.
but you can't. As a drummer, you can't. You have to
Yeah, you
be. You have to
can.
be involved. I don't know.
Maybe
Yeah,
you
I
could be
guess
like the first solo drummer and you could release like abstract drum tracks. I mean, not
that's
the
funny.
first solo drummer, but you know what I'm saying. Just kind
No,
of.
no.
He's like, nah, I'm good with that. I got enough going on.
Listen,
Full list.
and now at this stage in the game, the drumming that I did then was good, but compared to some of these players now, oh my God, forget about it. It's
Do you
ridiculous.
know Polyphia by any chance? Polyphia. If you don't,
Sounds familiar.
if you don't know their group, I check out these people's instrumentation. I swear that drummer is one of the most insane drummers that you'll ever hear. I highly recommend Polyphia.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
when we
Very
get
cool.
off of the stream, definitely check them out. But it's been amazing talking to
Appreciate
you. For
it.
those in the chat, I see Sierra Levesque is here. Love you, girl. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, have a great snazzy day. We're all looking forward to your projects. Got a lot
I
going on.
appreciate it. Appreciate it. If anybody is out in the Salem area this coming season, I do believe it should be there by then. But they're doing a Brimstone spotlight in the Salem Salem Halloween Museum. So there's going to be a whole exhibit there on me. And also, if you guys like podcasts and so forth, definitely check out the Grindhouse Radio and the Dirty Little Secrets Club. Those two of the shows that I do on iHeart, Spotify, and all that jazz. And hopefully, you guys will be interested in checking it out as well.
Absolutely. It's going to be a fun ride. Going to be a fun ride.
I appreciate it.
We're looking forward to it.
I wish I was
Awesome.
able to see your face while we were talking.
Once I post this, I'm sure we're both going to be showing. So then both of us will be there.
There we go. Fair enough.
Awesome. Take care, dude. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. See you well.